This is the Energy Makers Show, featuring the innovators, financiers, and policymakers focused on the global energy demand. Brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And here's your host, Paul Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Paul Dickerson, and welcome to another episode of the Energy Makers Show. First up, Rob Toker, Chief Operating Officer of Lowfoot, this demand response company making big moves to help conserve our use of energy. Next up, Richard Skrinde, founder and CEO of SROV Systems, a company bringing modular robotic systems to address the pipes and the infrastructure in the energy space. All that right after this.
Where will the energy come from to move us forward? From natural sources in abundant supply, or perhaps a man-made source? At NRG, we believe innovation will solve our energy needs. That's why NRG is moving away from fossil fuels towards wind, solar, and other sustainable technologies to power the smart grid, the electric car, and our clean energy future. We're using all of our energy to develop more of it.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Paul Dickerson.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. Our guest now, Rob Toker, Chief Operating Officer of Lowfoot. Rob, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, Paul, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great seeing you again.
Well, great seeing you as well. So tell us about this new company for you.
Yeah, you know, Lowfoot it's an interesting company. It's a company that's been in a fairly quiet company. I'd call it kind of in stealth mode the last year and a half. Testing and perfecting a very interesting approach to market and a technology platform behind it. And essentially what it is, it's a demand response company, so it's an energy efficiency company that utilizes software that leverages new hardware, smart meters. So you probably have a smart meter in your home. The smart meter at the residential level,
right,
that technology is continuing to proliferate. And what Lowfoot does is it comes in and takes that smart meter data, it aggregates it, and it provides information back to you, back to the consumer, that allows you to adjust behavior and maximize savings, so maximize your energy bill. And it also provides rebates, so it shares in the savings with the consumer.
Well, and we're seeing more and more of that adoption, right? So as these smart meters begin to proliferate the homes, that's where you can come in and play with that data? Absolutely.
I mean, the example kind of in the C&I space, the commercial and industrial space, where DER, demand response, is fairly well established in certain markets, in particular PJM, in particular up in the Northeast. This has been pretty good success, pretty good commercial success. But if you look at kind of the load factor on a hot summer day in Texas, it's not from the C&I space, it's not from your commercial industrial customers, it's from your residential customers. And anyone who remembers last summer, not this past summer, but summer 2011, the grid was stretched very thin. So grid operators, ISOs, you know, they understand that there's capacity reserve that is really, on the edge here, and the projection is 2 years. 2 years we're going to be out of reserve capacity. So this is a way to kind of get after, we call it a virtual power plant, way to develop a virtual power plant through these aggregated demand reductions. And it's far more carrot than stick. You know, we're interested in adjusting human behavior by providing good information. So it's very much a market-based approach.
Well, and those against smart meters say, hey, you know, we don't want the utilities turning down my air conditioner in a hot summer or the rest. And so tell us a little bit about the carrot side of things.
Yeah, I mean, we have an ongoing discussion about, as a management team, and I like our management team. It's one of the things that attracted me to the company. It's, you know, folks that have direct experience in the utility billing space, folks who have made, you know, a lot of money for themselves and their investors, you know, in the utility software space. And, you know, our view is that most utilities are run by engineers, and, you know, no offense to engineers and utilities, but we think that, you know, the auto-DR, the automated demand response, is at moments a little bit misguided. We think that, you know, human beings have been struggling to, you know, protect and control their environment for 10,000 years. And the last thing that they want to do is turn over the reins, turn over the control at this moment in time to utilities. So the carrot for us is, providing information and incentives. So for example, you have a smart meter at home. Through your retail energy provider, you're signed up with Lowfoot, or you can sign up independently. Anyone with a smart meter today can go on the Lowfoot website, lowfoot.com, and sign up. You don't have to wait for your rep or your utility to do it for you.
Well, but pausing there, when they do go and sign up,
yep.
Is there a cost? What does that look like?
Yeah, there's no cost to you. There's no cost to you, so it's free of charge to enroll. And the way it works is we provide information back to you. So, for instance, day ahead, you'd get an email or a text or something on your mobile device, an alert. We're essentially pushing information out to you as the consumer, saying, Paul, if you turn off your air conditioning for half an hour tomorrow between 3:30 and 4, we think it's going to be a hot day. Or you turn down the air conditioner 2 degrees, or we're going to put $1 in your PayPal account.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't want you to get anchored to the dollar, but some amount of money. We're willing to share basically that benefit, because the idea is we're going to have several 100,000 customers in Texas in the not too distant future, and we're going to aggregate that demand response, that load shedding, and we're going to be able to sell that capacity back into the wholesale market. So it's, I'm thrilled to death with kind of the management team that we put together in the company that allows us that capability. We have a guy who's the former, head power trader at Deutsche Bank who's signing on to the company, and, did the first deregulated power trades up at Constellation Energy. So, it's a team sport, and we put together, or in the process of putting together, a tremendous team. So.
Well, and let's stay with the company. What's your growth plan for the rest of 2012 and 2013?
Well, it's a multi-channel strategy. So for Texas, it's really focused on reps, so retail energy providers.
Right.
And it's a mixture of kind of elephants and quails. Ideally, we'd like to have one, maybe two, small handful of large reps that we get to know very well and get strategic with. We've talked with a number of them already. I think that's our quickest growth, quickest access to market.
Right.
We're also doing some kind of creative thinking about other channels. I'm not really at liberty to talk too much about that, but large employer groups. That's is a means to engage with their employees around sustainability, around energy reduction.
Well, and I would imagine a lot of these smart meter providers would find your service quite attractive, because it enhances a somewhat stale offering.
Yeah, the challenge for most of these utilities and the folks that install the smart meter is like, well, okay, now what? And the now what question has been a really challenging question for all of them. It's the proverbial kind of hardware software push and pull. Processor speed increases, so the complexity of software is able to increase. The complexity of software increases to the point where hardware needs to catch up, and this kind of yin and yang happens, and we think that's going to happen in the smart meter space. The good thing for us is that the data that we need available right now to make our system go is available right now. So this isn't kind of science fiction, fantasy. We're doing it now. So.
Well, and not just focused on the U.S. market.
Yeah, I call it a dual nationality company. I'm heading up the operations in the U.S. The company was formed in Toronto, Canada, though. The opportunity in Ontario is terrific. The retail power market's a little bit different in most parts of Ontario, but it's many municipal utilities and regulated utilities. The Lowfoot's great for them too, and for a number of different reasons. But I think first and foremost is just customer engagement.
Right.
The number one reason why people call up their power provider is, why is my bill so high?
Yeah.
If you can cut down on those calls and have a light touch, engagement with your customer, you're providing information to the customer. We think that that's very valuable, just from an operating cost standpoint, a customer service standpoint. But in time, the demand response potential with munis is also there as well. Well,
and that international focus fits with your personal background, right? Having served, wasn't it, in the British consulate?
Yeah. That's how we actually first met. You, it's going back a few years, but I was heavily involved in building bridges between Europe and the UK in particular,
Right.
and opportunities in the US and in third markets as well, especially Latin America. And I remember, I think we got to know each other either around the London Stock Exchange and the AIM market.
That's right.
Way back when, and some industrial biotechnology and advanced biofuels work. Those opportunities still exist. I think they're great opportunities. But internationally, I mean, this is a technology, the Lowfoot technology, that travels very well. We have a beachhead in Europe already. We have a Dutch customer who's phasing in a pretty extensive rollout, and it's not just for smart meters on the electricity side,
Right.
but it's also smart meters for water and gas. So that is, there's terrific upside there for us. It's the same engine. The core engine is already built, and it's really kind of augmenting that and building it out. But if you look at the international opportunity, we're kind of taking one step at a time. We're really focusing firepower in Ontario, Texas, maybe one other geography in the U.S., and this beachhead in Europe. We'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Well, exciting times ahead. Rob, thank you for coming by.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
And that wraps our discussion with Rob Toker. We'll be back with more right after this.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Paul Dickerson.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. Our guest now, Richard Skrinde, founder and CEO of SROV Systems. Richard, great to have you on the program.
Nice to be here, sir.
So tell us about SROV Systems.
SROV Systems is an early stage company whose mission is to introduce robotic technology to help restore America's infrastructure. And we're focused on energy, both in power plants and in the oil field flow lines.
Well, let's talk about them in that order. Within building or helping rebuild our nation's infrastructure, how do you and your technology help?
Well, today, robots do an excellent job in factories. They put America back in the manufacturing game. They're very mechanically efficient, but they're not flexible. Today's field robots, called ROVs, are very flexible, but they're very mechanically inefficient.
Right.
So SROV Systems is developing robots that combine the best of both.
Well, and you've got some good partners and people that you're working with. Can you tell us?
Robotics is a complicated industry. It's a global competition. America needs to do a better job. So we formed alliances with America's leading national research labs, such as Southwest Research Institute. And then we are working with organized labor. They're the people that get the job done. And they believe that by working together and having the latest robotic technology, that'll put America in the best shot to get our infrastructure back in shape.
Tell us about your work with power plants.
Power plants have a real problem. When they went through deregulation, the focus shifted and new management came in. It was all about shareholder value. So a lot of maintenance has been deferred. And part of it has been that there's some maintenance in power plants that manually is such a struggle, and it's so hard that you can't do it without closing the plant down, without projects that take months or years. So we're developing technology so they can go in and clean all of their water lines that are clogged up. And in doing that, in just a small power plant, you can reduce the amount of greenhouse gas by 100,000 tons a year. You can increase their electricity output by millions of dollars. And so we're very excited that there is now on the horizon the technology, the union people that know how to go get to the power plants that have the 100,000 workers. And so we think it's really a marriage of America having the technology and the people.
Who's the competition?
Right now, the competition is people that do the job manually, and it's the same union workers. We just want to give them the best possible tools.
So what's the secret sauce that allows you to build robots that can travel through pipes and clean and assist?
Our goal is to turn the roto-rooter into the robo-rooter. And right now, robots are kind of monolithic, where they have one brain and a lot of body parts. And we're leveraging the work done in cell phones, where now computers are tiny. And we're building modular robots where every little part and piece is smart. And then you build an artificial intelligence backbone that can coordinate and manage maybe tens, maybe hundreds of independently intelligent, smart parts that clip together like a modular robot.
Any challenges that you want to surmount in 2013?
Oh boy, it's all challenges. The trouble that you face as an entrepreneur is it's very expensive to be in robotics. You can have a small company, you can self-fund, but when you hit that wall where the next step is the millions, then you need to make a lot of new friends in the investment community, which is why we're here at the Rice Alliance. And you have to go raise the money and get the job done, and so that's our 213 challenge.
Well, Richard, good luck with that, and thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, sir.
And that wraps this episode of the Energy Makers Show, heard on the radio nationwide and seen right here at TheEnergyMakers.com. I'm Paul Dickerson, and we'll see you next week.